Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. We're going to get you guys caught up on today's Chicago Bears news after Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus met with the media for their Bears training camp press conference. We'll react to some of the things that they said. But first, let's get to the news of the day. The Bears have signed Riley Reiff to a one-year contract up to $12.5 million. Sounds like he's going to make at least $10 million. Longtime offensive tackle in the National Football League, played right tackle for the Bengals last year. Missed some time, but played over 700 snaps for Cincinnati. You look at his PFF grades there, 67 overall, which is pretty good. I would say pass block a tick below average last year, run block above average. One-year deal up to $12.5 million, like I said. So, hey, what have we been saying for months? Oh, Harrison, this offensive line, it stinks. They got to do something. I've said, be patient. When we get closer to training camp, I bet they add a player or two. Well, they added Michael Schofield yesterday, and now they have added Riley Reiff, two guys that will almost certainly start on this offensive line. Now, Matt Eberflus kind of teased that when he was asked, hey, will Riley Reiff play right or left tackle? He said, you'll find out tomorrow at the first practice, of course. A lot of the big J's on Twitter project him as a left, even though he played right last year. So for now, we'll pencil him in at left, which probably makes more sense because Larry Borom and Tevin Jenkins in their second year can compete for right tackle, and then this year can kind of be a redshirt year for Braxton Jones as, he still learns, fifth-round rookie who got the first-team reps at left tackle during minicamp and OTAs. I think Riley Reiff at left tackle makes more sense, but we'll see. He can play both spots. Whatever the Bears are most comfortable with is what they will do. What is your one-word reaction to the signing of Riley Reiff? Then I'm going to give a few more thoughts in just a moment. Let me know in the comments one-word reaction to the signing of Riley Reiff. Before I do get to some final thoughts there, then we'll get to some other storylines. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell because we just crossed 49,000 subs. Thanks to you guys. That means the road to 50K is underway here on Bears Now. I would love to get there before the first preseason game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So subscribe to the channel. We're going to have you guys covered throughout Bears training camp. So some other thoughts on Riley Reiff. Number one, it gives you a pro at offensive tackle. I did not like the idea of rolling with a rookie and a second-year player, whether that be Braxton Jones as one guy and or Tevin Jenkins or Larry Borom. I think getting a veteran tackle in there, and then you let, all three of those guys can compete for the last tackle spot. I'm fine with that. Let someone emerge. But now you can at least feel good about 4 out of your 5 spots. Is this offensive line going to be awesome? No, but I think it went from, oh, this could be bad to, I think it's passable now. This could be kind of middle of the pack in the NFL, top 15, top 20 offensive line, which is a lot better than what it was just 2 days ago and especially last season. You look at Reiff's career, he has spent a lot of time in the NFC North, 5 seasons with Detroit, where he's been able to stay mostly healthy as well, 4 seasons in Minnesota, and then last year with Cincinnati. And like I said, he's been able to play both tackle spots. You look even closer at some of the PFF grades, 49th out of 83 eligible tackles there, so kind of middle of the road last year. Last year wasn't his best season, but again, an average starting tackle is not bad. That's better than what you had yesterday. Gave up 4 sacks, had just 1 penalty, but I think you can feel good about this signing. Now, it's $12.5 million with 10 pretty much guaranteed. It sounds like a lot. Yeah, it's kind of a lot, but that's why you save money and use it on the right player. You had, 18, 19 million to work with. Now, after signing him and Jaquan Brisker, you're probably, at 6, 7 million, but that's still plenty of money left over to have during the season if injuries pop up. All right, let's get to some other storylines from training camp. Robert Quinn does report to Hallis Hall. We didn't know if he would. Quite frankly, I kind of thought he would not, but he's in the building after skipping OTAs and minicamp, and that's good. That is a good thing for everyone involved, because even if the Bears ultimately trade him, which, by the way, Ryan Poles said he has not had that conversation with Robert Quinn and that he would like for him to be here. We'll see if those two talk in the coming days about what Quinn wants for his future, but it leaves the Bears in a good spot. Hopefully he's here, he competes, and hey, maybe he could be a candidate to trade at the NFL trade deadline depending on where the Bears sit and how Robert Quinn is performing. So it's a good thing for all involved, I think, that he reports. reports, because if he doesn't report, his trade value doesn't exactly go up either, even if you do end up trading him. So he's in the building. He's at Hallis Hall. I expect him to practice tomorrow. What do you think? Ultimately, will Robert Quinn get traded? Type T for trade, or you can type K for keep. Let us know what you guys think. Will Robert Quinn get traded? Now, we are recording this video live on YouTube, and we're going to be going live on the Callin app here in about 30 minutes, so probably about 11:15, 11:20 a.m. Central Time. So depending on when you're watching this video, we might be live over there, so go ahead and join us. If not, we go live every week on the Callin app, so you should go subscribe. First, you got to download the app on iOS or Android. Just search Callin. You'll be able to find it easily, or you can click the link in the description for iOS or Android. And then search Bears Now. You'll be able to find us. It's like Twitter Spaces on steroids. It's a lot better. It's got a live chat feature. You guys can hop in the caller queue and ask me your questions, and we can chop up some Bears football back and forth. A lot to discuss today, so hopefully you'll join us over on the Callin app. All right, let's get to some other more Bears-specific press conference takeaways. Those are more just some news and headlines with Quinn reporting and Reiff signing. I want to talk about Roquan Smith here because Ryan Poles kind of, started the press conference off almost said, hey, we love Roquan, but we're not going to comment on his contract. Naturally, he was peppered with 4 or 5 questions about it, and he said, their feelings haven't changed, but he's not going to comment on any contract negotiations, which is typical GM speak. I'm not too worried about it, but obviously this needs to be handled. We'll see officially if Roquan practices tomorrow. It sounds like he is in the building, but the chatter has been that he will be there, but he will not practice. So if he does not, that would consider it a hold-in, which we broke down on yesterday's video. TJ Watt did it last year where he was at the Steelers practice facility, but he didn't practice until he got a new deal. That could be the approach Roquan Smith takes here as he enters a contract year. Obviously, big year for him. You don't want to risk injury and potentially lose, 50, 60, 80, $100 million, depending on how big of a contract he could get. With all that in mind, will Roquan Smith get a deal done before week 1? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. I think a deal will happen between the two parties, but we'll have to just wait and see. Couple other thoughts. Ryan Poles was asked a little bit about Justin Fields, but with all the other stuff going on, the new signings, he also talked about the arrests, which he said he was disappointed in as a manager, he called himself, of an organization, but still feels like he has the right guys. Obviously, there was some Justin Fields discussion here, and he said that camp will be critical for Fields and the receivers. This is really when you can build that chemistry on a new level. Obviously, Fields has been working with these guys all off-season long, but it's an opportunity for him to really take that up a notch and get into those padded practices, 11-on-11s, and build chemistry with guys like Darnell Mooney, which he already has good chemistry with, but N'Keal Harry, who Ryan Poles mentioned, he's still very high on. Byron Pringle, obviously, Velus Jones Jr., the tight ends, the running backs. So a big month coming up for Justin Fields during training camp and in these preseason games. So excited to see how he handles things, how he looks in this new offense with Luke Getsy. He's got a couple of new offensive linemen in front of him that should do the job pretty well. So I think all is trending in the right direction at this point in time for Justin Fields in the offense. Now it's about just building those reps even further and getting a better grasp of this offense if you are Fields and the receivers. All right, do you trust the new Bears regime of Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Do you trust this regime? Let me know in the comments. I think so far so good. Now, again, the arrest stuff, Ryan Poles acknowledged that that was disappointing, and Matt Eberflus said the same thing, that you try to educate and move forward from those type of things. They're handling those matters internally. Obviously, you don't want to see these arrests stack up, but I think in general you can feel good. Ryan Poles said, look, we've told you guys we're going to keep adding players, and it was quiet for a while, but to get guys like Riley Reiff, Michael Schofield, N'Keal Harry on board, some guys that can contribute, I think that is a very, very good thing. All right, appreciate you guys for joining us on our live show. If you did, that's kind of the headlines from today's press conference and, of course, today's Chicago Bears news with Riley Reiff signing and Robert Quinn reporting to training camp. Subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to keep you guys updated with the latest Bears news and rumors.